Breaking news to tell you about Skycam 6 over the south side right now near Emerson Avenue and I-465, where we have learned that police are involved in a chase of another vehicle. It started about 13 minutes ago at Raymond Street and I-465. That's just south of the South Split. And they have been continuing south on Interstate 65 now, approaching the County Line Road. We're going to continue to watch this throughout the newscast and keep you posted on this, but keep your eyes and ears open for emergency vehicles down on the south side near I-65 and County Line Road.
Maybe close to the end of the school year, but it was a home.
Numbers put McIntosh way ahead of where Helmke was at this time in 1998. Martha?
Okay, Norman Cox live in our newsroom. Thanks. I want to go back up into Skycam 6 now to update you on that chase that we have been following. You can see some traffic that's being slowed down due to a lot of police cars in this area. We're down on the south side up of I-65 near County Line Road, where police have been in pursuit of a vehicle for the past 18 minutes or so. Haven't heard any reports of injuries or as to why they were chasing this individual. We're going to continue to watch this, though, but make sure if you're going to be heading out that you are watching for emergency vehicles going in this direction. I-65 on the south side near the County Line Road exit. Obviously, a lot of traffic backed up. Looks like it's heading southbound. You might want to try and avoid that area. We're going to keep you up to date on what's happening with this.
Obviously, a lot of haze out there today, but we're going to follow it until we get on top. There they are. You can see right there the police officers
going the wrong way down. You see the several squad cars are heading south. There's the individual just went through the ditch over towards the right side of your screen. Officers now crossing the median to go into the southbound lanes again. Obviously, it looks like a dark vehicle up towards the middle of your screen now. 4 vehicles in pursuit, continuing to follow that individual. You can hear a little bit of the traffic. Why don't we just not say anything, listen to what you're hearing over the traffic radios.
Yeah, I can. No problem.
Let's go to Keith, who's up flying Skycam 6 right now. Keith, what can you tell us?
Good evening. Well, we're trying our best to catch up. We're fighting a headwind that renders us about the same speed as the chase. But we're gradually making headway here.
How fast would you say they're going?
I'd say somewhere in excess of 100 miles an hour, and I'm doing right now at about 110 over the ground myself.
What have you seen this driver doing? Obviously, we've just gotten on top of it. He looks like he's willing to take some chances there. He was heading south in the northbound lanes and then crossing over again into the southbound lanes on I-65.
Yes, he's driving very erratic. He's swapping lanes, putting a lot of people in harm's way. We're going to get down there as quickly as possible.
Speeds of up to 100 miles an hour. We saw at least 4 police officers, 4 police cars chasing this man. We don't know yet why he is eluding police, but certainly they are right. Matter of fact, a lot more police officers showing up right now going down I-65.
We're going to keep you up to date on this breaking news situation. Skycam 6, as Keith, our pilot, said, it's traveling about the same speed. They are fighting a wind, traveling more than 100 miles an hour down I-65. And you better look now once they get underneath this overpass how many vehicles are following the lead vehicle.
Say it again, please.
Yep, just got word from the Indiana State Police local post that they would hope that if you are going to be in the path of this pursuit that you would pull over and stay to the side of the road. Do not just slow down. Please get over to the side of the road and stop. Right now we have about 7 police cars in pursuit of this person traveling south on Interstate 65. Keith, can you tell us, do you know what exit this is coming up here?
I just somewhat lost track. We just went past the Greenwood exit. Franklin is coming up down here on our right front.
Okay. Should be real interesting what happens here as they approach all the
they're coming all the stop traffic right there. As you can see, Skycam 6 trying to catch up with this. It may look like everybody's standing still, but they are not. Skycam 6 fighting a headwind, and normally that Jet Ranger should top out at about, what, about 130 knots, 125?
Yeah, 130 is the maximum velocity not to exceed with it equipped the way it is. This one cruises about 110, 115 knots.
And there he goes down the middle of the median.
Cruising into the northbound lanes now. Looks to be a pickup truck. Can't get too close to it. Obviously, the officers are quickly hopping in the median, too. They have stopped all of the southbound traffic. It appears that they have stopped the northbound traffic as well to clear the way for this. You can anticipate that they'll have the stop sticks out as they try and kind of herd this person into an area where they will have stop sticks out so they can try and deflate his tires and stop this pursuit. Now it looks like they're on the shoulder of the northbound lanes of Interstate 65.
All the traffic seems to be moved over it to the passing lane, or they may be going down the berm right now, the emergency lane of I-65. northbound. They're going the wrong way on I-65. They're going south, but they're in the northbound lanes.
Trying to get word from Indiana State Police, too, on what they might be pursuing this individual in the pickup truck for. Speeds right now, oh, got to be 80, 100 miles an hour in the northbound lanes of Interstate 65. This is now heading towards Franklin. Should be right in the vicinity.
And of course, this time of the day, you're going to see a lot of traffic coming up from the south side, people coming back into Marion County from work, people commuting back up north. I would guess that at some point they're going to have to, as you saw earlier, they were trying to pull traffic over, and you saw some police officers actually in the northbound lanes. And I would guess as word travels with state police and with county police, local police, they're going to be moving more and more traffic out of the way. But you can see the semis are still coming up north.
Yep. Amazingly,
though, we don't see traffic. There hasn't been a head-on yet, which is unbelievable at this point.
It is really remarkable. Hopefully some people have their radios on 87.7 or are having an opportunity to get in touch with Indiana State Police, have the police radio for traffic information. A lot of people coming up the northbound lane have their hazard lights on as if to warn other travelers that there is a problem. Got to wonder if the semis are talking to each other on their CB radios as well.
We saw a state police trooper in the southbound lanes get out ahead of all this traffic and move on further south. Don't know what he or she may be doing, but certainly getting out ahead of the chase right now. You got to think at some point there's going to be a blockade set up, and they'll stop all traffic on I-65 coming northbound if they can.
Yeah.
I'm thinking after the Franklin exit, if you would go further south, what may be the next exit after Franklin? I know you come down around Flat Rock, Edinburgh, a little bit further south there. But I'm thinking there's got to be an exit between Franklin and Flat Rock, Edinburgh.
Yep. I think they're going to be able to set up some sort of stop sticks. They are so fortunate that there isn't a lot of traffic that is heading northbound. Keith, anything that you're hearing on your traffic?
Not at this point, Martha. We're just now catching up, almost abeam the scene now. Looks to be like 4 traffic officers behind him, maybe 3 or 4 on the other side of in the southbound lane. Now he's swapping ends again. He's just now going to crash into this field if you keep your eyes on him. He's going through this soybean field over on the west side of 65.
This is somebody who definitely wants to get away. A lot of areas in that neck of the woods are fenced off. It's very difficult to access the interstate. It'll be interesting to see if he is able to find a way out.
Is he still heading westbound, or he's starting to cut back north now?
He's still going west-southwest.
Okay.
Clyde, he's slowing down somewhat.
Well, now the
police officers on foot chasing him on foot.
The headwind is not going to be as much a factor for you now. You're going to be at a different vector there. You'll be able to stay on top of him now and help them out.
Exactly. He's if you can widen out for me, Shay, there just a little bit, you'll see the police officers on foot chasing behind the vehicle. Now he's going toward a residential area.
Now you're somewhere then between Franklin and Edinburgh at this point.
That is correct. I'm closer to Franklin, however, than I am Edinburgh.
Now we're going to be hitting one of the county roads here.
You got me, Butch?
How you doing on fuel, Keith?
We're in real good shape. That's one thing I'm thankful for. I topped her off before I left for the beginning of the show.
Any state police helicopter up yet?
Haven't seen a one.
Which direction are we going right now, Keith?
Right now we're heading westwardly on this county road.
Must be pretty close to the Johnson County line.
I would think so. In fact, over here is 31. He's heading for Highway 31.
Okay, we got a map out here in front of us, so we're kind of following along as you're following this driver. So maybe we can give you some help here in helping you locate where he's going to come up. Well, if he's heading westbound, then he's going to end up coming over towards, if he's south of Franklin, over towards Nineveh and over that way. And Trafalgar, sooner or later, if he doesn't get stopped.
I'm thinking right here, he will either turn to the north, if you'll pan out there a little bit, Shay, for me.
Railroad tracks. You've got the railroad tracks. This is near County Road 250 South.
He's going to either turn
just north of Amity
to the north or to the south here on 31, and the chase will begin again.
Yep.
Okay, we got another major road then coming back up, going north-south, which we take him back up towards Franklin, but let's see what he's going to do here.
Heading towards US 31 now. This is just north of Amity.
So state
And he's
police
gonna go
are
He's
state
pulling
police
out
go
in
to
front of traffic right now. He's just pulling out in front of traffic. These drivers behind him are...
the state police can get to 87.7 on their FM dial and can't pick up our traffic. We can tell them that this guy is now heading south on 31, right?
That is correct.
Yep,
Okay.
South on 31.
Heading towards Amity now.
Let's see if we can get his driver's license number, Shay. Can you zoom in, maximum zoom on that?
That's great, Shay. You can get in a little bit more behind him.
Yeah, we're
We
going to
can get a more
right
direct
now.
line on his license plate.
You see the truck
Going
plate
down a little bit, Butch.
156360.
I don't know. That's an Indiana plate.
Looks like a truck plate.
Could we lose the
Lose the banner.
banner for just a moment?
Did you get a reading on that?
No, we didn't, because we didn't get quite close enough, and we got our breaking news banner up right now, and we just were a little bit low on
I
it.
want to update you on where we are. We're following this police chase that initially
That's
started
a police
on
car behind him.
Okay.
All right.
Interstate 65 on Raymond Street at 5 o'clock tonight. Now, we've been following the southbound 65, sometimes at speeds of more than 100 miles an hour in both the north and southbound lanes of Interstate 65, with several police in pursuit. The individual then jumped off
Yeah, your
Interstate
microphone is
65
on, Keith.
near Franklin and the Johnson County line, heading west through a field, and is now traveling south on
See if
US
he's raising a
31,
weapon.
heading towards Amity. And we have learned that that is an unmarked police car that is behind this pickup truck.
If he keeps going this way, he's going to end up in Edinburgh, sooner or later.
That
if he
is
stays on
correct,
this.
Clyde. There's a police car directly on his rear.
It's a very young man driving that, I'll tell you.
Yep.
It looks like a kid. And he doesn't look really very
He looks pretty
concerned.
comfortable.
He looks pretty relaxed. He's got to know you're up there, Keith. I know that. He's smoking a cigarette.
Smoking a
Yeah, we were
cigarette.
just zooming in to see if he was raising a weapon or anything.
No.
He's smoking a cigarette.
He's smoking a cigarette, and he's got an unmarked car on his tail.
How's your speed now, Keith? What are we looking at as far as speed there?
Yeah, right now my speed is, ground speed is about 45 knots indicated.
Okay.
45 knots is what?
Yeah.
About 60?
Yeah. It's about right.
Roughly 60 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour.
Okay.
So he's just pretty much right there with the speed limit now.
I couldn't tell if that was an in-state or an out-of-state plate, though. It almost looked like an out-of-state plate there for a moment.
Keith, can you tell me if I need to widen out? I'll go in on that license plate again.
Yeah, let me get in position one more time here, and we'll see if we can't get his plate number.
Once again, anyone just tuning in right now, this we're
we got
watching
some-
live.
Wait a minute,
Uh-oh,
wait a
here we
minute.
go.
We got to see how he's going to try and pass this van. Is this the only squad car that you're seeing behind the truck right now? Is it this one that's right behind the truck, the unmarked sedan?
He's just been joined by a county sheriff.
Okay.
Okay, Johnson
It's coming
County
up on his-
deputy,
to
we're
his
told.
right-hand side.
Okay. Again, we want to bring you up to date. This is happening on US 31. Now we must be approaching Edinburgh on US 31. The police chase had initially been on Interstate 65. Indiana State Police are advising you, if you happen to come across this, if they actually cross your path, get over as fast as possible. Get out of the way. This driver has definitely been making some erratic moves, going in the wrong direction in the oncoming lane. Very fortunate at this point with all of the traffic out there that we've seen that they have not involved any other innocent drivers out there.
And this thing started way back in downtown, south of downtown Indianapolis on Raymond Street, around the, I guess somewhere around the I-65.
I-65
exit.
and Raymond Street, 5 o'clock.
We're going to try to zoom in one more time, Martha, and see if we can get see
Get
if
a
he's
plate.
an in-state or out-of-state driver here.
Okay, we're crossing the railroad tracks again. This is in Johnson County. This is going to be just north of the, this is at County Road 650
Okay, Shay,
South.
zoom in for me.
Okay, is there anything way up above him?
This is County Road 650 South, where the railroad tracks come across US 31. It's about 5 miles
Here we go.
north
Here
of
we go.
Edinburgh. Now we can get a plate 156
156
360L.
0L.
And it's an Indiana truck plate.
Mm-hmm.
It's an Indiana truck plate.
Oh, well.
Hey, you guys keep a lookout ahead of there. We don't want you hitting any power lines or anything. I know you're well versed in all that, Keith, but
I appreciate your concern.
Pilot
but the
Keith
camera
Kinder.
makes it look like we're a little bit lower than we are. You know?
what are you, about 1,000 feet?
Above the ground, about 500.
About 500, okay.
That's Pilot Keith Kinder that you are hearing. He flies Skycam 6 for us.
We're about to join another deputy down here in the median. You'll see him join in on the chase in just a second. He just laid out some sticks.
Okay, the stop sticks will take care of this.
It'll be interesting to see if
Here
he
it
takes
comes right now, right there at this intersection. Wham!
Now the question is, did he hit him or did he just go around them? Had they laid them across both lanes?
I don't know. I can't say.
Yeah.
I recognize that sign that just that he just went by, which means he's getting pretty close to Edinburgh.
Now taking
He just made a right turn, and the police are now on both sides of him. This is going to come to an end here shortly.
Got to see if they're going to take him off the road. He stopped.
I'm sure they'll be coming out with weapons drawn.
Again, it's again 32 minutes
Sorry about
ago.
that, Butch.
Can we get a little closer, Shay? Pulling him out of the car. He's down, looks very young.
It's over.
He has endangered a lot of lives in the past 32 minutes on Interstate 65 and US 31, traveling south from just south of Indianapolis, all the way down near Edinburgh in Johnson County. Skycam 6 has stayed with them the entire way. We have county vehicles, state police there. You can see the scene coming to an end on US 31.
Evidently, the stop sticks worked, because he certainly seemed to slow down.
They usually do.
Man, it's windy up here.
Yep.
You heard Shay, our photographer, say it is windy up there. I'm sure there's a lot of, you guys are doing an incredible job considering all the turbulence we've had today.
Indiana State Police get their helicopter up yet, or are you the only one up there?
I believe we're the only ones at this point. I am being joined by a friendly competitor. However, I see no police helicopters.
Okay. Once again, this is southbound US 31. I would say just a few miles, not very far north of Edinburgh. Can't be just, but just almost on the outskirts of Edinburgh at this point, which going into Edinburgh would have been not a good thing with all the traffic that that comes out of the mall down there.
Hey, here we go. I got control.
We're going to be in touch with Indiana State Police here in just a moment. Get them on the phone and see what they can tell us about this individual. So many times when we see these chases, it starts with what would have been an ordinary traffic stop for someone just committing some sort of a traffic violation, whether it be running a light or going a little too fast. And for some other reason, they make the decision to run.
It looks like several Johnson County deputies, I would figure, and then one state policeman, it looks like, from the patch.
You have an Indianapolis police officer right
That's
there.
right, IPD there, 2 IPD.
Yes. You have Marion County, Johnson County, Indianapolis Police Department.
A little more relaxed situation now, as you can see with the officers. They got this guy. Obviously a young driver, and seemed to be very calm behind the wheel as he was going down the road, smoking a cigarette, driving with one hand, driving his pickup truck, and took it through a field. We don't know if it was a four-wheel drive or not, but he was certainly booking it through the soybean fields once he turned off I-65, and then went westbound, and he was south of Franklin right then, and picked it up on US 31.
Looks to be about maybe 18 years old. 18, 19 years old.
Well, his day's ended.
Yes, it has.
He won't be driving for a while, I don't think.
And he's not saying much.
No. Again, it started about 5 o'clock. Got the word that police were in pursuit right around I-65 and Raymond Street. Headed south on 65, we witnessed as this driver pulled his truck into the northbound lanes of Interstate 65 with oncoming traffic in both lanes as we were hitting rush hour. Headed in the south in the northbound lanes for several minutes with about 4 or 5 squad cars in pursuit. Then hopped over the median, went into the ditch, went down the southbound lanes again with several other cars in pursuit, continuing down I-65. And then he decided to take the unusual shortcut of going through a soybean field, heading west towards US 31.
Zoom back in there.
Turned and went south on US 31.
And traffic is still moving on US 31. Civilian traffic is moving in the left lane, right on down the road there. So they have not closed the highway, does it look like.
For a while, I'm sure the traffic backed up quite a bit on I-65 as they tried to get some innocent folks out of the way when she was trying to switch different lanes.
So that was a pretty scary moment way back up north when you saw all the traffic stopped on I-65, and you know, you just never know. You know, you're just going down the road, going down the interstate, either going home or, you know, going to work or whatever, and to see a car coming at you the other way is not something you're going to expect in the middle of the afternoon.
Not that long ago we saw it end very tragically when someone did something very similar, heading in the wrong direction into oncoming traffic. Fortunately, this one ends with a suspect in custody and nobody injured. People delayed a bit, but nobody injured. This is the scene in Johnson County, pursuit we've been following for the last
About
36
40 minutes. Yeah, 36, yeah. And traffic once again moving on US 31. And we are just north of Edinburgh. And Edinburgh then, actually what happened was that if he'd have continued on his route, he would have come by Edinburgh anyway on I-65. But instead he cut west over the farm field, ended up on US 31. So he came in almost to Edinburgh, just still coming in from the south, but just on a 2-lane highway rather than a 4-lane highway. Almost coming out at the same spot he would have come out of if he had continued down I-65.
Now what they're going to do is obviously try and find a reason for this pursuit. They're going to go over his truck with a fine-tooth comb and find out, number one, if there might be something in there that he might not have wanted officers to perhaps find if they would have stopped him initially before the chase even started. They'll run his driver's license, see if there's anything that is pending against him, but they're going to look everywhere.
Jeannie, our producer, have you heard anything from state police or county or city about why they stopped this guy?
Okay, we're going to get that information right now and have it to you shortly. Okay. We're being told from Indiana State Police that he hit 2 cars in Indianapolis at the initial part of this chase. We are getting some information. Yep. Getting some information about the vehicle registration information. Obviously not going to release that. The truck is registered to an Indianapolis individual.
Let's see if we can... we're looking... pardon us here for a moment. We don't say too much, but we're looking at the official Indiana registration record. But we're not getting a name on this, are we? On the person that's registered to. Yes, here we go down here. We're not going to release that, but it is registered to an Indianapolis person. Looks like an apartment address. But I can't tell you where it is. I don't recognize that street.
No, it's a 1987 Ford. Again, I want to just let you know what you are looking at here. A very, thankfully, peaceful ending to a chase that started almost 40 minutes ago on the south side of Indianapolis. Several different agencies, including Marion County Sheriff's Department, the Indianapolis Police Department, and the Johnson County Sheriff's Department. Eventually, this is how this chase came to an end. This is US 31 heading south. They had put up stop sticks just a couple of miles up the road. That's immediately going to puncture the tires and cause them to go flat within a matter of moments. They surround the car, pull him out of the truck. He's down on the ground, hands behind the back, handcuffs, no resistance. And what was interesting to watch at the beginning of this chase is how leisurely he appeared to be driving that vehicle as he put so many other lives in danger as he went the wrong way down the interstate, going across a field. Police were able to get other traffic out of the way so that they were able to bring this to a pretty peaceful conclusion down on US 31. This is just a few miles north of Edinburgh on US 31. The chase had happened, most of it on I-65.
Yeah, you know, we don't know that this might not be a stolen truck. So if, you know what, if you recognize this truck and it's your truck and it was stolen, give us a call. We can tell you it's a 1987 Ford model R100. It was purchased, whoever bought it in July 28th of 1999. It's obviously, as you can see, it's black. It's a Ford 1987. If you're missing a truck and you live in an apartment, give us a call. We'd like to know what happened. Maybe it is this guy's truck.
Talking to him now. Getting his shoes.
It's a vehicle from Perry Township. I can tell you that.
Yep.
I'm going to have to circle around this one time to get a little airflow through here.
Okay, you're doing pretty well on fuel. Our pilot Keith Kinder, you're hearing there.
Yeah, we're doing just fine on fuel.
Okay.
It looks like they're able to move some traffic through that area very slowly. Most people traveling through there are probably quite surprised to see, 6 to 8 squad cars all over the place.
They took something out of his sock when they took him into custody. We don't know what that was. Once again, here on 6 News, you're watching live coverage, Skycam 6 giving you pictures of what is left of a chase that went on for well over a half hour. We picked it up early on back in Indianapolis as it headed down I-65, began off Raymond Street, picked up on I-65, then headed south through by a lot of traffic on I-65, stopped traffic on I-65. As a matter of fact, at one point, the driver of this vehicle went into the northbound lanes of I-65 and went for a number of miles at high speeds. As a matter of fact, Skycam 6, our helicopter, which is no slouch and can reach speeds of easily up to 115, 120, 125 miles an hour, was having a hard time keeping up with them because, one, we were hitting a lot of headwinds, and two, they were going fast. And there were a number of squad cars, state police troopers, following back behind them at a safe distance. And then about 20 to 25 minutes into the chase, the driver of that truck decided to take a detour and went then westbound through a big soybean field. And he was actually crossing the soybean field at an angle so that he was really bouncing around pretty good through there, through the furrows, and ended up on US 31 and continued southbound on US 31 away from Franklin and toward Edinburgh. And finally, what stop sticks were put out, if you know what those are. They were actually invented by an Indiana man. They have spikes in them, and they're laid out across the road, and it's virtually impossible to go very far. You'd be riding on the rims once you hit those because they deflate the tires. You lose control of the vehicle, and you're going to slow down. Although we have seen before these chases in which the driver of the vehicle will actually run on the rims, and it's quite a spectacular show, especially at night, because there's a lot of sparks that come flying off those rims once the tire rubs off the wheels. But that came to a stop pretty quickly because officers came up along either side of the car. One got in front of the truck, and the young man inside offered no resistance to police, and he is now in custody and in a trooper's car.
You know, it's interesting, too. We just learned from Indiana State Police that he did swing wide enough at US 31 at that intersection just north of Edinburgh to miss the stop sticks. So either he ran out of fuel or he decided to slow down on his own, realizing that he wasn't going to get too much further. We're going to swing around here and get some air underneath Skycam 6 over the scene in US 31.
No, we're told now that it's US 52. 252. Thanks, John. It's US 252.
This is the county road that he turned off of.
That would be, then that would take you towards Trafalgar. 252 would run between Trafalgar and back over towards 31. Is that correct?
It is just right on the north end of Edinburgh, actually.
That's the exact location, Martha and Clyde. It's 252 and 31. I'm looking at the road sign right now.
Okay.
We'll make another low pass for you, and we'll show you that road sign.
Okay, it's just north of the Big Blue River, just maybe about a couple miles north of Edinburgh, according to the map that I've got in front of me. We're going to take a look again at the last part of the chase. 252
would take you over from 31 and then run you back over to I-65.
Correct.
You'd run by Trafalgar, go north of around Camp Atterbury. There's a big Johnson County horse.
Actually, Camp Atterbury is a little bit north and just a little bit to the west of 252. Okay. We're a little bit further south. We're right off the southeast corner of Camp Atterbury, off of US 31.
Settle right here.
And 252 does run in between US 31 and I-65. However, it doesn't appear that there's any sort of an exit or egress from 65.
Now, Martha, we're going to go ahead. Martha, Keith here. We're going to go ahead and pan to the left there, if you would, Shay. We'll show the intersection to the rear, and you'll see that the road signs reflect exactly what
where we are.
Where we are. Keep coming right there. Now, zoom in right there, if you would.
There we go.
Zoom in right there at the road sign.
US 31 and 252 then.
Zoom in a little faster there for him, Shay.
That's
right at the top of the screen. Zoom up.
So Edinburgh is going to be a little bit...
There it is, 252 and US 31. We're right at that intersection.
Edinburgh is going to be to the east of you.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
That takes you right in towards Atterbury then.
Yeah, Atterbury's right off our nose as we're looking to the southwest at that intersection.
Okay, gotcha.
make another low pass here to see just how many police cars were involved in this chase. It's pretty astronomical.
Well, what was interesting is that they made the decision, you know, he has this four-wheel drive pickup truck. He can go through that soybean field and head through those rows, obviously taking a good jarring while he does it, but they did not try and make a lot of the pursuit with the squad cars, actually. You were telling us that they were going through that soybean field on foot.
Yeah, there must have been at least 10 to 15 officers on foot with weapons drawn, chasing after him, thinking he may be
drop an axle or something.
Drop an axle or get hung up in the soft earth, and just didn't happen.
Yeah. We're being told, too, that he's going to be taken down to the Johnson County Jail in Franklin. When this initially started, we're told that he struck 2 vehicles right at the beginning of this chase, which began in Indianapolis, 20 miles up the road at about 5 o'clock. And then they went off in pursuit. We had Indianapolis police, 2 squads from Indianapolis right there, Marion County Sheriff's Department, Johnson County Sheriff's Department, Indiana State Police behind him. Some of the other officers on the scene are peeling off now that they see that they've got this under control. Got Skycam 6 up there. We've got to turn around a little bit.
That is the entrance. Ralph Grant tells me that is the entrance to Camp Atterbury. If you would be entering Camp Atterbury from the east side off US 31, and I thought I recognized that too, because that's a popular fishing. I've been fishing a number of times, as I'm sure Ralph has too, down into that area. It takes you right into Atterbury, and
we can show you that from my altitude that I'm presently at. If you'll pan left, Shay, you'll see the downtown area of Edinburgh pan out, and
yeah, Edinburgh will be back off to our camera, to our screen left.
Keep coming and pan up a little bit.
Yeah, right back in there, takes you toward the Big Blue River.
That is Edinburgh, and if you'll pan back to the right at the scene and come further to the west, you'll see Camp Atterbury proper.
Right.
Keep coming, keep coming.
Princess Lakes is going to be a little south of there.
Right there it is.
Yep.
And it's where it all came to a stop, right off of US 31, at the intersection of US 31 and US 2 and State Road 252.
Producer Jeannie, are you hearing anything from Indiana State Police about initial cause for this?
But he did hit 2 vehicles on his way.
Okay.
2 vehicles in Indianapolis that he hit as part of this chase this afternoon.
Well, there's going to be a lot of reckless endangerment charges, I would assume, because of obviously the high rates of speeds reaching over 100 miles an hour as we followed them down Interstate 65. In addition, they're going the wrong way in the northbound lanes of Interstate 65, going down in the ditches, jumping over the medians, taking the shoulder of the highway as the route to try and escape all of the vehicles that were pursuing him.
It's just amazing to me that people keep trying to do this when, in fact, you know, the odds of you getting away are just astronomically small with the number of police officers around the area and the fact that they have the stop sticks available these days, and the fact you've got helicopters up. You know, you got Keith up there, and once that pursuit starts, only several opportunities, very slim, to be able to get away, because, you know, I would think if nothing else, you're going to run out of fuel at some point. You're
going to run out of fuel. What we see most often is that they run out of fuel, or they aren't as trained in handling their vehicles as police officers are, and they make a mistake, and they end up injuring themselves, and very often they end up injuring other innocent people who've become involved just because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But very rarely do we hear of these individuals getting away.
Yeah.
Still back in the squad car, still getting lots of questions from that Indianapolis police officer who's leaning in to speak with him. He's going to be taken to the Johnson County Jail. I'm going to update you on what those charges are. But he did not hit the stop sticks. We're told by the state police involved in this case that he was able to swerve away from the stop sticks, the rods that they put down across the surface of the highway that would have punctured his tires and rendered them useless within just a few hundred yards of where he hit them. But apparently he was able to swerve around them, and so he either ran out of fuel at the end of this chase or decided to slow down.
But once he made that turn off US 31 onto 252, just the turn itself would have slowed him down.
Yes.
And you got to figure, you know, they're in, the officers are in cars much more equipped, well-equipped to handle high-speed pursuit, and also the turning that these guys are going to do is going to be much better than what he can do with that pickup truck that he had.
Yep. Map of how this all started. We'll go back up to the top of the screen. Raymond, this all started at about 5 o'clock at Raymond Street and I-65. We're told that the individual who was driving that Ford pickup truck hit a couple of cars in Indianapolis.
You can pop me down, Shay.
And then started traveling south down Interstate 65.
Down.
Sometimes driving in the southbound lanes, but when he ran into traffic, he went down in the ditch and crossed over into the northbound lanes, into oncoming traffic, and continued south at speeds, according to our pilot Keith Kinder in Skycam 6, that were somewhere near 100 miles an hour because we were fighting a headwind, and that's as fast as we could go in that situation. Here's, again, live back at the scene down in Johnson County, where it came to an end at 252 and US 31, just north of Edinburgh.
Okay, I've just been told that our scanner traffic indicates that truck is indeed, just as I thought, this truck was indeed stolen. So that may give us some indication of why this guy was taken off and led police on this high-speed pursuit. So once again, if you're watching 6 News and you're missing a black truck, a
1987
Ford R100, which is more of a compact truck.
Yes.
It's not a full-sizer.
Short bed.
And you're missing that truck, and you live in, we don't want to give your name, and we don't want to give your address. But if you live in Perry Township and you're missing your truck, and you know your license plate number.
Again, this is the end of the pursuit. He had just swerved around the stop sticks, but came to a stop. This is 252.
Yep.
Again, just west of US 31. Officers approached the vehicle, opened the door, and pulled this rather young-looking suspect who had been very casually sitting behind the wheel of his truck out.
Your license plate number is 156360L, and that's your truck. Give us a call. I'd like to talk to you about when the last time you saw your truck.
Can we get the videotape of when he was going south in the northbound lanes and hopping across the median? I would assume that, I know that we have that somewhere. It's really pretty amazing with all the traffic that was coming up on 65 that nobody else got involved in this. A lot of traffic. State police had actually stopped people at one point in the southbound lanes as we headed towards the Greenwood exit. They had stopped a lot of the traffic, and it appeared that he was going to be running into a wall of traffic in the southbound lanes, but that's when he jumped the median again and started heading south in the northbound lane. You know,
and also a wall of semis, because there's so much semi-traffic on I-65, and we saw quite a bit, although you would probably figure that the guys in the big rigs with their CBs know what's coming up the road as much as they stay in contact with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was interesting to see all the vehicles who did know something was happening that were, you know, very standard in Indiana when there's a hazardous situation. Put your hazard lights on, and how many vehicles that were heading north on Interstate 65 as this pursuit was heading south in those northbound lanes, how many people I noticed who did have their hazard lights on who had pulled over into the passing lane to give the pursuit an opportunity to use the slow lane in the northbound lanes of I-65. We're back at the scene now, right at 252 and US 31 in Johnson County. Suspects still in the scene. They're going to tow the individual's Ford pickup truck that we have reported stolen. So we'll get that out of there. Now we're going back to Interstate 65. This was about 20 minutes ago, and you can see the truck. This is the pursuit again before it came to an end, approaching that wall of cars, and then he decides to go down into the median and into the northbound lane.
There wasn't much traffic at this point coming up the northbound lanes.
Nope, there wasn't. And I've got to believe that a police car had somehow either tried to divert them. There's a few cars coming up, but he goes onto the shoulder.
Got a circle here, Shane.
Okay.
And you're hearing the voice of our pilot, Keith Kinder, in Skycam 6. And this is videotape from about 20 minutes ago on Interstate 65. You see traffic still going up. There's one state police car that's trying to get ahead of him in the southbound lanes. Then he takes median again, goes across the southbound lanes and into the soybean field. And at this point, a lot of the vehicles, the squad cars, the officers got out of their squad cars and pursued on foot, assuming that this truck was going to have some problems with these heavy rows of soybeans. But he cleared out and then was able to get to, I believe it was County Road 250 South.
And then on to US 31.
And then back onto US 31.
He obviously wasn't very far south of Franklin at that point because I-65 and 31 are so close together right there.
Yep, that's just north of Amity, and that was County Road 250 south that he hopped onto. And then he is approaching US 31 here again. This is about 30 minutes ago, and then decides to head south on US 31. He lost a lot of the pursuing police officers when he went through that soybean field because they had to get out of their squads, go on foot, try and get through, thinking that he might get hung up, but he did not. That was the swerve around the stop sticks. They had laid down the stop sticks at that intersection. This is just north of Edinburgh.
And there was the sign that you saw that tells you Camp Atterbury is ahead. And there's the turn on the 252.
He's in the oncoming lanes again. He's in the wrong lanes.
As you can see, it's a 3-lane road. It's 1 lane coming in, 2 lanes going out.
Yep.
To Atterbury.
But they stop him. Surround him. 4 squads.
He knows it's over.
He's done. In a stolen vehicle, 1987 Ford.
We think it's stolen. Yeah.
We heard
that on the scanner traffic, but I don't know if we've confirmed it, but that's the indication.
Okay.
And certainly would give a reason why he was, one reason why he was running from cops.
Yep. Is this back live? This is back live again now. US 31, obviously a lot of law enforcement still on hand there at 252 and US 31, just west of US 31. I would assume that the pulses of many of those law enforcement officers are just starting to slow down now.
Mm-hmm.
When they realize how many people can innocently be involved in a situation like this.
That's west. You're looking westbound on 252. Back behind Skycam would be US 31, and beyond that, the town of Edinburgh, and beyond that, I-65. Then going west, you would see Camp Atterbury, and then on towards the Fowler.
Yep. What a day it has been for them. That young man's day has come to an end. Probably not as he had hoped.
And Martha, our day is about to come to an end as well, as I'm going to have to break here in a few minutes to go top off with some fuel.
Any thoughts, Keith?
Well, it's, I wish I could say it's been enjoyable. It's actually been quite exciting, but at the same time, I'm just thankful that as prevalent as these high-speed chases have become, they usually end up in accidents and injuries, and this one here just happened to end perfectly. I'll have to, my hat's off to the police officers that did their jobs in a very professional manner.
Yeah, and so did you.
Yep. I guess you can't help but, even watching the tape as we were watching it live, I understand, Keith, that you've got to pull off shortly and go and refuel Skycam 6, but couldn't help but flinch a bit as they approached every vehicle, not knowing what was going to happen.
Yeah,
especially as he's approaching those oncoming trucks or that wall of traffic in the southbound lanes on Interstate 65, or when you have officers who are approaching the vehicle and the suspect is still in the truck and you don't know what's going to happen and they don't know what's going to happen and you can't predict human behavior. And we are very fortunate in this case that everything came to a resolution so peacefully.
And we were glad you were up there also to kind of keep track of where that guy was going, since police agencies' copters weren't up yet, but obviously they were in good pursuit of this guy. But it was nice to have Skycam 6 up there.
And there's our 6 News satellite truck. The police car that it is going to reveal in just a moment contains our suspect, who will be taken to the Johnson County Jail in Franklin.
And welcome back to 6 News at 6 o'clock, where we have been following for almost an hour a police chase that began back at Indianapolis and has come to a safe end on US 252 at US 31, almost going into Camp Atterbury.
Yep. We need to go back.
There's our suspect again, leaving the intersection of US 31 and 252, heading to the Johnson County Jail in Franklin, where he faces numerous charges. We are waiting for an idea of those from the Indiana State Police.
That's an IPD car right there.
Yep. Indianapolis Police, since that pursuit originated in Indianapolis, will be transporting him down there to be held. This is the beginning of this chase just south of Indianapolis on the southbound lanes of Interstate 65. Thinking he may stop, but he did not. Jumping into the median. Those are the northbound lanes. At this point, no oncoming traffic, but 5 squad cars, 6 squad cars in pursuit of him.
And he headed down that way for a couple of miles at speeds at least of 100 miles an hour, with traffic coming on the other way, traffic that had moved into the passing lane of I-65 coming north towards Indianapolis. As you can see, it's obvious that a state trooper was considering, or whoever is in that police officer, in that police car to the right, was obviously thinking this guy could swing back and go back to the southbound lanes, and he would be ahead of him at that point.
But at that point, the suspect did the unexpected, which they will often do, and decides to leave the interstate altogether for this south soybean field, which is right near County Road 250 South. This is just south of Franklin, heading from Interstate 65 to US 31.
You know, he never hit a, did he ever hit a fence that he went through?
No, he did not go through any fencing that I was able to see from our video.
He certainly didn't come out through a fence.
No, he did not. It almost seemed like he knew that area pretty well, because he came right across it. I had thought that he might, that's so heavily fenced in that area, that I thought he might have to go through something like that, but he did not. He hit County Road 250 South, which is what he's on right there, and then now is going south, thankfully in the southbound lanes of US 31, heading towards Edinburgh. This is near Amity right now.
The guy in that Cadillac must have thought, what is that guy pulling out in front of me for, you know?
Yep.
And having no idea what was going on. Of course,
That
the helicopter up above would kind of give you a hint.
That brief swerve that you just saw right there was the individual driving this truck avoiding the stop sticks and then making the sharp turn onto 252. This is near the southeast corner of Camp Atterbury, going again in the wrong lane, heading west on 252, and then 1, 2, 3 squads get around him, and he stopped. But he did not hit the stop sticks, we're told. So this is a stop that he may have made voluntarily. Officers out, weapons drawn, 5 officers close in on the car. He comes out, he's down. His day is done.
That's got to be a very scary moment when you've brought a guy to a stop like that and don't know if he's got a weapon. You know, I mean, he can put his hands up, but, you know, you just don't know.
No,
you just don't know. If you're a police officer, that's got to be one of the most terrifying. Yeah, as we said, as you saw way back earlier in the video, the guy was heading down the road with his right hand on the wheel and smoking a cigarette in his left hand, and winded down the car, or went down the truck, and didn't seem to be, it was just nonchalant.
Yep,
like it was a Sunday afternoon drive.
Yep.
But that has got to be a very scary moment for a police officer, as they finally confront the person that's running away from them, not knowing why they've run, and then not knowing if that person has a weapon. My hat's off to them. They did a great job this afternoon.
Here's where it all started, up at Raymond Street, where you see the start, obviously, traveled down Interstate 65, down south, and actually, maps doesn't account for the soybean field that brought him over to US 31 and County Road 252 there in Edinburgh, and where it ended.
I guess, you know, if you're going to pick a time of the day to do this, the worst time of the day is right now.
Yeah.
Rush hour on I-65 on US 31.
Yep.
Live picture.
Indianapolis police cars right now, 2 in tandem heading to the Johnson County Jail in Franklin with their suspect safely and squarely in the back seat of that squad car. Now, you may be wondering, why is Indianapolis taking them? It started in Indianapolis. This was originally their pursuit. They do a
The 2 vehicles were just sitting on the side of the road and got sideswiped, but obviously they had an unfortunate afternoon.
Yep. I'm glad we had this map here. Thank you, Kevin Gregory, for the map. Make sure we knew which county roads that we were dealing with. Skycam following this the whole way. It's tough to see from the air, though.
Skycam heading back, probably going to refuel, I would guess, aren't you, Keith?
That's my intentions at this point. It's been a pleasure working with the both of you this evening.
All right, thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Keith.
We'll see you later.
All right. Once again, Skycam 6 bringing you a chase this afternoon that began a little after 5 o'clock in Indianapolis and then headed south. And we understand, as there it came to an end right there on US 252, east of Highway 31, almost coming into Camp Atterbury, bringing the suspect out. No doubt that he was under arrest at that point.
Right off the bat, I think Indiana State Police knew that this might take some time once they started heading out onto the interstate, and we contacted them to get an idea of what this individual was running from, and they were quick to point out, if anybody could hear us, anybody listening to 6 News, as it always is on 87.7 on your FM dial, to make sure that people who might possibly come into the path of this pursuit to get out of the way, not necessarily just slow down, but stop and pull over and get out of the way. They had seen this individual take too many chances, crossing into too much oncoming traffic, taking the ditches, taking the shoulders of the highways as they traveled from Indianapolis all the way down almost to Edinburgh.
I believe we're the only ones that...
You know, this guy's driving a 1987 R100, and, you know, that's got to probably be a 4-cylinder, don't you figure? At the most, it's going to be a 6.
You're asking the wrong person.
I'm going to guess it's a 4-cylinder, maybe a 6. But, you know, if he had that thing going down the road at 100 miles an hour plus, he had to have his foot all the way to the floor with that thing. Yep. Giving it all it's got. And obviously the police officers' cars would go much faster than that, but they kept a safe distance back behind this truck.
I want to go to Sergeant Stewart now with the Indianapolis Police Department. He is the public information officer for the department, somebody we work with every day. A very fortunate conclusion to this chase. Matt, what can you tell us?
Right. Well, again, as you indicated, it was concluded without incident. There was no one hurt as we know of right now. The suspect is currently en route back to the South District for processing, and then he will be transported to city lockup. To really a major felony type arrest.
Well,
yes.
And all your officers at some point go through training to learn how to handle these type of pursuits.
Well, that's absolutely correct. All of us go through a driving course out at one of the tracks here locally, and that tries to simulate what it would be out in the roadway. However, nothing really prepares you for the real thing when you're trying to go against the flow of traffic.
Boy, your heartbeat's got to be going a mile a minute when you're in one of those pursuits, though.
Well, Clyde, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, it's a very tense situation.
And especially when you bring a suspect to a stop and you really don't know what he or she's got in the vehicle.
Well, absolutely, and this is somebody that obviously is not working with a full load there, and so yeah, you never know what kind of reaction once you're stopped that person might exhibit.
All right, Matt, we thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're going to take a little break here, and we thank you for calling in and bringing us up to date on what has been quite an afternoon for Indianapolis Police and other police agencies here in the Indianapolis area.
What an afternoon.
Yeah. Coming up next.
Sure. And it'll be a great service for a lot of people who are afraid to talk about it.
Thanks, Linda.
Thanks, Linda.
We have a breaking news situation we want to get to. Chopper 13 is over it right now. Take a look at this. This is I-65 South near the Whiteland exit, and you can see this black truck, they believe it's a stolen truck, is being pursued. If we can pan back here, we have 1, 2, I think 3, 4, 5. I believe we have as many as 6 cars chasing this. Hard to tell at this point how fast they're going. Let's see if we can get to Chris Schubach. She's up in Chopper 13. Chris?
Well, Ann, I think you've described it as much as we can. We've been following them, at least I've heard from the police scanner traffic, and have been following them since Raymond Street on I-65. So it's been several miles that they've been tracing this pickup truck. We're not exactly sure why, except maybe from some traffic violations, but again, not exactly sure why. But several Indianapolis Police Department vehicles have been chasing. There is a roadblock we understand that they have set up just ahead in the hopes of being able to stop this driver. So it's been a chase that's been going on for at least 10 miles or more. So we are continuing to monitor this chase.
Something happening here. Going through the grass and heading the wrong way now.
Oh, my goodness.
So certainly a dangerous situation at this point since
gosh.
he's going the wrong way on the interstate.
Chris, it's hard for us to get a perspective here. Do you have any idea how fast these vehicles are traveling?
Again, John, from up here, it's hard to say as well. It looks like they're doing some pretty good speeds there, and you can see how dangerous this is for the other drivers if they're not paying attention. This could be a very dangerous situation.
He is now crossed into oncoming traffic. This is the I-65 near the Whiteland exit. Exceedingly dangerous, especially considering that we're at rush hour right now. They have now crossed over the median and are pursuing him in the oncoming lanes. Do you know where they've set up this roadblock, Chris?
We just know that it's a little farther south than where they were. We did see some police vehicles that sped ahead of the truck, so hopefully they will be able to stop him soon. Obviously, they're going to have to do it soon because this is a very dangerous situation, and we're still trying to determine exactly why the chase began in the first place.
We'll stay with this for a little while longer. Again, these vehicles are traveling south, but they are in the northbound lanes of I-65 near the Whiteland exit. A black pickup truck with as many as a half dozen IPD police cars chasing it, and you can see as this chase proceeds.
I think we're going to pull away from this right now. For responsibility's sake, we will keep you up to date on this. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back.
I used to get headaches, pounding, jackhammer headaches, but not anymore. What's my secret? Boston Market.
Don't get a headache over dinner. It's done. Come into Boston Market now and get a quarter dark rotisserie chicken, 2 sides, cornbread, and a Coke for just $4.99. And get a scrumptious slice of apple pie for just $1.29 more.
It's just what the doctor ordered.
Boston Market. Dinner? It's done.
Legends beckon me to follow in their steps. Through heroic stands of towering pines, along shimmering banks of heather. Call 1-888-78-GREAT for information about Michigan Golf. Legends beckon me to play forever, and I followed them to Michigan.
Sometimes, just getting into a GMC Jimmy is all the relief you need. You see, the Jimmy has a full-length steel frame backbone that adds comfort to an extremely capable vehicle.
Now get this great value on a 2000 Jimmy. Residency restrictions apply. Call for lease details.
What's so great about nasal crom? Look at me. I'm not sneezing, but I'm not drowsy. I'm not stuffy, but I'm not jittery. I've never been not miserable in allergy season before. Nasal crom's incredible. These may cause drowsiness. These may cause drug interactions. Nasal crom won't. It's the only allergy medicine that goes right to the source and flat out prevents allergy symptoms. Nasal crom. The best way to stop suffering is never to start.
The select few who graduate from the Marathon Intelligence Agency Academy of Customer Service leave with an incredible commitment to customer satisfaction. They leave with a clear-cut duty to make sure every Marathon station lives up to Marathon's quality standards. And they leave with a pair of really cool shades. And now, for a very limited time, you can get your own pair of really cool shades for just 99 cents with any fill-up of 8 gallons or more at participating Marathon stations. So hurry to a Marathon station near you, and you can leave looking very cool for less than $1.
Welcome back. We're continuing to follow this situation here in the southbound lanes of I-65, where police are chasing a suspect in a black pickup truck. You can see traffic is stopped here. He's now switched over to the northbound lanes of I-65. This is near the Whiteland exit, and police continue their chase.
This is a very potentially dangerous situation. We understand there is a roadblock set up.
And there it is.
And there it is. We are watching. He's crossing through on the median. Now, this is the oncoming lane of traffic. All we have a report on is that this is a stolen vehicle. There are at least 6 police vehicles in pursuit right now, and they're just following him on down.
Well, the good news at this point is the traffic is stopped. What we're looking at is northbound traffic on I-65 that is stopped now, and the suspect has avoided the roadblock. And now we're getting into a situation where traffic is moving once again, so the danger is going to increase quite a bit at this point.
They are facing head-on traffic at this point. You can see vehicles trying to catch up on the other side. We've got Chris Schubach up in the helicopter. Chris, can you tell how quickly he's going. Looks like he's picking up speed.
Yeah, it definitely does look like he's picking up speed, and we've been monitoring this for the past several minutes now. This chase has began when we found out about it at the Raymond Street exit on 65, which is just south of the downtown area. Now we are south of the Franklin exit down here in Johnson County. Several state police vehicles, we've counted as many as 8, including sheriff's deputies as well, who have been in this pursuit. You can see they tried to set up a roadblock. This is the second time he has switched over to the northbound lane. So as you said, the danger just seems to increase, and his speed also seems to be increasing as police try to catch up with him. So hopefully they'll be able to do that sometime soon. Traffic had stopped on both areas around the Franklin exit before he made that move over to the northbound lane. So hopefully traffic is there is paying attention, and they are doing their best to try to catch up with him. But this has been a chase that's been going on for several minutes, as I said, at least 10 minutes through several miles of highway.
I'll tell you, if people have someone who they know is traveling this area or does travel this area about this time, this is the time to give them a call and tell them not to go here. This is an exceedingly dangerous situation that we're watching, kind of thing we're more used to seeing in Southern California than here in Indiana. It's hard to fathom why somebody with this many police officers in pursuit would continue to do this. Any other roadblocks set up that we know of, Chris?
We haven't been able to detect any, and of course it takes them some time to get up ahead of him to set up those roadblocks to get the traffic stopped. They thought they had done that earlier on around the Franklin exit there, but as you saw, he just maneuvered his way right around it, so they were unable to stop him there. So I'm sure that plans are in place to move it farther down south, to hopefully they'll be able to get it done this time.
Now again, Chris, give us a geographical location here. You said this started out at about Raymond Street, and that's been about almost 20 minutes now since this chase began. Where are we at this point in the game?
Well, John, last we checked, we were just south of the Franklin exit. We're much farther, a few miles south of that now, there in Johnson County. So when we first found out about it, it was around the Raymond Street exit, which, you know, is just south of the downtown area.
Here he goes.
Switching back over to the southbound lane now into the field over there. This may be the point where police can finally catch up with him. I can't imagine him being able to travel through the field like that without them being able to get him.
Now that's a field that is not yet planted, it looks like. A farm field down there south of Franklin?
Yeah, this is several miles south of Franklin by now, I would imagine, because that roadblock was set up just south of the Franklin exit.
To pull out a little bit, can you tell what he's trying to get to? Is there another road or a country road out this way?
There may be some access roads as far as the farmers use to get into the fields. It's hard to tell at this point.
He's going at a good clip.
Unbelievable.
What's happened to the police cars? Can they, are they...
Well, I'm not sure.
Oh, my
God.
God.
Like they've
police
just stopped
cars are
on the road.
foot. I'm sorry, let me just jump in here for a second. The police guys are on foot now. They cannot get their vehicles in the field because it's too muddy. And this guy is now evading them, and he's almost to a small county road, so he'll be back on the road here momentarily.
You're listening to Chopper 13 pilot Butch Bates, who has seen situations like this, although Butch, in all your years of doing this, have you ever seen anything with this level of danger traveling?
This is a residential neighborhood.
This is very dangerous.
This is
scary.
Butch, what road is that he's on right now?
Good question. Stand by a second. It looks like County Road 300 South, I believe. That would be probably, no, I take that back.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm not sure. It's 300 South, I believe, but I'm not sure what county.
Okay, which direction is he heading?
Okay, he's now heading westbound.
Okay, this is westbound. This is south of Indianapolis, and he is now on what looks like an access road.
A rural road out there in some of the farm fields south of Franklin. Again, this chase started about 25 minutes ago now, near the Raymond Street exit on I-65. It proceeded southbound along I-65 southbound, police in heavy pursuit. The gentleman in this truck, or what lady in this truck, we really don't know at this point, crossed over the median several times, traveling in the northbound lanes, going south at a very high rate of speed. And if you've been with us for the last few minutes, you saw this truck go off the road through a farm field and now in a county road. And look at that, making some sort of gesture at the helicopter. Can you see in there, Chris? And
Butch,
can you tell if this person
he's
might be armed?
almost to US 31 now. He'll be turning here momentarily. I'm not sure which direction he's going to go yet.
Do you notice any, are they armed perhaps?
It's hard to say. We've kind of stayed our distance away here.
Absolutely.
He's now turning southbound on US 31.
Southbound US 31, and give us as good a location as you possibly can. You can see these are cars right in the midst of all this, not knowing what's going on. Best location you can give us, so people can avoid it.
Stand by just a second. Looks like we're close to Amity. We're just a couple miles, if not even that, just north of Amity.
Is the police helicopter up as well?
We have not seen him. Just ourselves. It looks like the other station may have just joined us as well.
It looks like he's blending in with traffic at this point. Doesn't look like he's speeding right now. And it just makes me wonder if he is familiar with these roads down in this area.
Again, this is not a two-way road, correct? This is one-way stretch he's on 31. Yeah.
US 31
yes,
South.
Yes, it is.
And he's just blended with traffic.
He's actually got somebody behind him, so it doesn't look like he's speeding at this point.
That is a police officer behind him, though.
There
I can see the lights flashing there, so perhaps this chase may be coming to an end at this point, although it doesn't look like the truck is of a mind to pull over at this point.
In all the years I've been here, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this unfolding certainly on Indianapolis television. This is the kind of thing you see in Los Angeles much more. Potentially a very dangerous situation. At one point, this man had as many as 6 or 7 police vehicles following him, and now there's just one.
But I suspect that more will join the search or join the pursuit here sometime soon. Looks like other cars are getting out of the way, so this situation proceeding now. It's been going on for almost a half an hour. A hot pursuit. Police chasing this black pickup truck in a chase that started in Indianapolis, now south of Franklin in Johnson County on US 31 South.
Looks like there is something in the back of the vehicle. Looks like there is only one person driving this truck, and the only thing that we had from police is that they believed they were dealing with a stolen vehicle, and that's how the pursuit started. And it hasn't ended yet. In the past, if you're just joining us, this started on I-65, and this person actually crossed the median into oncoming traffic. So despite the fact that there were 6 police cars chasing him, seemed willing to do whatever it took to get away.
Now, Chris, let me ask you, it looks like perhaps the speed is beginning to pick up a little bit again.
Yeah, I think since he found out that there was another police vehicle behind him, it looked like at first he was trying to just blend in with traffic. Since he cut across that large farm field, as you saw, got into a county road and then made his way over to 31 South, and a police vehicle just behind him who had turned on his lights, and now it looks like speeds are picking up. Cars are trying to pull over to get out of the way once they find out that there is a police vehicle back there. So I'm sure there's a lot of radio communication going on between police officers, both county and state, to try to hook up with him once again.
There's another one joining the another police car.
Yeah, county sheriff there. If you were with us probably about 7 or 8 minutes ago now, there was a roadblock, police roadblock set up just south of Franklin that the driver of this black pickup truck was able to evade by going onto the shoulder of the highway and continued down I-65. He then took a turn through a farm field, picked up in a county road, and then reached a point where he got to US 31 South, which is where he is right now. You saw that the one police car that was pursuing him pulled over. Now a county sheriff is giving pursuit as this continues now. A situation that's been going on for better than a half an hour on the south side of Indianapolis and now down through Johnson County.
Butch, I know you're trying to fly the helicopter and do everything up there, but as soon as you can get us another fix for our viewers on exactly where this is, because certainly people are going to be calling their loved ones.
We are approaching Edinburgh, and I would say we're probably less than 2 miles, maybe 3 miles max to Edinburgh, or Edinburgh.
Okay, so this is near Edinburgh, US 31 South, and luckily at this point not too heavily traveled. But this all started on I-65, and this person, a man we think, actually crossed farm fields, went into oncoming traffic at one point and crossed farm fields and managed to lose the 6 police cars that were chasing him at that point.
Can you look out down the road a little bit there, guys, and let us know what he may be coming up to? Any other roadblocks set up, perhaps? No, it looks like the road is clear, which is probably good news. At least some innocent folks could not be put in danger by this, at least not right now.
And we'll mention here that that in all likelihood he is not monitoring us, so that we're not giving him an advantage by pointing that out. This is just something for people who might be out and traveling at this hour. Definitely a situation you want to avoid, because we've seen some pretty crazy things happen in the past 15 minutes we've been following this.
Oh, now it looks like a little bit of a maneuver here. Again, this chase started when police believed they were pursuing a stolen vehicle, a black pickup truck on I-65 near the Raymond Street exit. It's been going on now for quite a while, and now the driver going back onto a city road. Now, is this Edinburgh? Is this where we are right now?
Actually, I believe we're heading in toward Camp Atterbury, if I'm not mistaken. That would be route.
It looks like they've cut him off. There we go.
It's over.
Police now surrounding the vehicle. As police get into the vehicle and
they have him down on the ground.
Out. Well, there you can see police now going in to subdue the driver. Very dangerous, very scary situation as we watch this chase proceed this afternoon down I-65. The driver, at a very high rate of speed, heading southbound, crossed over the median several times into the northbound lanes, continuing at a very, very fast speed. Then eventually going through a farm field on some country roads on US 31 South. And do we know which exit this is, Butch, where this is all taking place?
You know, this was State Route 252 there at Edinburgh, and he turned westbound.
And he just stopped. He eventually just stopped. They are searching. I'm sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just going to say it doesn't look like he gave them any kind of a struggle at all. I just think at this point, just gave up at this point.
We are very happy to say this has ended peacefully. Again, this is in the Edinburgh area. They have him down on the car, and no one was injured, although there were a couple close calls when he crossed right into head-on traffic.
Eyewitness News reporter Chris Schubach in Chopper 13, along with Chopper 13 pilot Butch Bates, doing some very fine work to stay with us today. We want to thank you guys for your coverage, and we're pleased to say that this has ended in a way that no one was hurt.
And there he is on the car. They're taking the information.
It's really unbelievable that this did happen with nobody getting hurt. As we mentioned, just to kind of recap, he crossed over, traveling southbound, crossed into the northbound lane twice on Interstate 65 before crossing through a very large farm field onto a county road, then onto US 31, and finally when he made this exit, police were able to capture him. So good work, I would say, by police, but also a very lucky situation that nobody was hurt.
I mentioned a moment ago, Chris, that you're up in the chopper today along with pilot Butch Bates, and who is the photographer up there with you today?
Scott Graber is doing the fine work up here.
Oh, excellent work.
Scott Graber doing a great job along with the rest of the folks up there. We want to thank you for your coverage, and again, there you see the suspect on the rear end of a police car, as police will now take him to jail. We'll certainly be following this up throughout the evening to find out what the charges will be and exactly what happened here today. You would think that with so many police cars chasing you, you might give up the chase a little bit earlier, but this man certainly tried his level best to get away.
Looks to be a relatively young man. And again, we are very, very fortunate that this ended peacefully. Now, right now, it looks like they had him cuffed. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing at the moment, but we have all different kinds of police agencies represented. They have worked together on this.
It looks like some Indianapolis police officers there to the left of your screen, as well as state police, county sheriffs. Throughout the chase, probably better than a dozen police cars that we saw, and there could have been more that were out of the camera range as well. This is obviously a full-scale effort by the area police agencies to stop this man and bring him in.
They're now walking him back to a vehicle. I'm sure they'll be taking him down, and he'll have a lot of questions to answer when he'll be processed. Once again, this is State Road 252. They obviously have it completely blocked here after he pulled off of US 31 for a chase that actually began on Interstate 65 south of town, right around Greenwood, Whiteland. He then drove across a farm field. And he was actually the one that stopped the chase, finally decided that it should come to an end. Also need to commend, I think, the police officers for their work. This is the kind of thing that could quickly have gotten out of hand and could have become a very high-speed chase. And it looks like they kept all that under control. They just kept him in slow, steady pursuit.
Now, showing great restraint. All the police agencies involved doing a fine job keeping this vehicle in sight, but not letting it get too far away.
So once again, it looks like it is over. State Road 252.
That's our coverage from Eyewitness News. We're going to take a break right now, and we'll be back with Eyewitness News at 5:30 in just a moment.
Don't you just despise highway stars? You know the type. Bold, cocky, think they own the road. Jealous? The new Nissan Maxima 2000. Voted a Consumer's Digest Best Buy for 2000. Now, buy a Maxima GXE starting from just $21,569. And that's all 222 horses. Another star is born. Hurry to your nearest Nissan retailer.
Travel with me, Mr. Italy, to Domino's new Italian Originals Chicken Grill Pizza. Journey through tender chicken, seasoned onions, and colorful peppers. Magnifico.
Now get 2 large one-topping pizzas for $11.99. That's 2 large pizzas for $11.99.
Relax your senses and indulge yourself. Play all day. Play all night. Rejuvenate yourself. Call now for summer specials, up to 50% off family suites. Tradewinds Island Resorts on St. Pete Beach, Florida.
And so, in layman's terms, that is essentially how we can accomplish light speed. It's simple. Next question?
Professor, could you summarize all of the various benefits to being a AAA club member?
Various benefits? Well, I know they're a first-rate roadside assistance company, but...
They've got auto insurance!
Apart from that, I wasn't aware.
What about travel, genius?
AAA, more than just roadside assistance.
Gee, I didn't know AAA did that.
We don't sell pets at Tobacco Road. But now, for your viewing pleasure, kittens. Gas and cheap prices on stuff. Tobacco Road. The way to save.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Andrea Moorhead. Let's get to some breaking news that we have been covering for about the last 15 minutes or so. A car chase that began at I-65 near the Raymond Street exit just ended minutes ago at State Road 252.
That's right near Edinburgh. Chris Schubach is in Chopper 13 just above that. Let's get the latest from her. Chris?
Well, a very intense chase if you were following along. My gosh, a very dangerous situation for police and for the driver involved. We'll kind of recap with you how that happened. You mentioned, as you said, it started about I-65 just south of town around the Raymond Street exit, and we'll show you some pictures now from Chopper 13. Ended at State Road 252 just west of US 31. The driver of a black pickup truck took police on a chase several miles, most of that along I-65 twice. He crossed over from the southbound lane to the northbound lane, making it a very dangerous situation for other drivers as well. Police stayed on him, tried to maintain a roadblock there just south of the Franklin exit, were unable to stop him there. He drove around there, continued south on 65 until he finally cut through a farm field and made his way over to US 31. And just as he made the exit off here to State Road 252, that's when police were finally able to catch up with him. It looked as if he almost gave up the chase and surrendered peacefully to police. So he is now in police custody. The only word we had was that this was possibly due to a stolen vehicle, but we're not sure of what other charges will be involved here and what other situation led to the chase. But police do have this young man in custody. But again, a very intense and sometimes a very dangerous chase for police. Handled very well by all police departments involved. City, Indianapolis Police Department, State Police, and the county sheriffs were all involved in this chase, but they were able to stop him, I'd say, after about 20 or 25 minutes of chasing. Again, very busy and very dangerous stretches of road. Reporting live from Chopper 13, Chris Schubach, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
Okay, Chris, indeed a very volatile situation.
Right.
Thankfully, it ended peacefully and that no one was hurt. It could have been different, but again, thankfully, nobody was hurt in that situation. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story and bring you all of the latest updates, including full coverage of that speed chase from the very beginning, coming up on Eyewitness News at 6 o'clock with Ann and John.
Now let's move on to some other news of the day here. For the second time in 1 week, police in Anderson are investigating a suspicious death. Detectives found the body of a 21-year-old woman inside her apartment yesterday. Eyewitness News reporter Rich Reeve now on an unsettled community with an unsolved mystery. It's tonight's top story at 5:30.
The Oaks, an idyllic apartment complex in Anderson's South Side, quiet except for this.
It kind of scares me. It makes, fearful for the residents out here.
Crime scene tape now covers the door to apartment 35B, where Michelle Jones lived and died.
My mom lived there, It kind of brings tears to my eyes thinking about it. The woman died in my mom's apartment. You know, I think of it as home for my mom still.
Police say this woman, who's asked not to be identified, heard knocking at her door at 5 a.m. Sunday.
I got up and went to the peephole in my door to see who it was, and nobody was there.
She found Jones, a single mom, lying on the floor, partly wrapped in a blanket. She called 911.
And I thought maybe something was wrong with her baby because her door was open and the lights were on in her apartment. I've always felt safe and comfortable, but now I don't.
Didn't appear to be any forced entry, any signs of a struggle. You know, there are just, again, some oddities that are making it look at it, again, as a death investigation.
Neighbors showed us their Crime Watch sign and where Jones's name had been rubbed off her mailbox.
2 of these kind of things in our city in a week. It's very, very shocking.
Another neighbor, afraid to show her face as well, heard a popping noise early in the morning, she said, and saw 2 men in an early model car taking off.
One man was carrying a bundle, and I thought it must have been a baby. It looked like some of the baby's blankets, and then they took off in a car.
Still many questions now, how Jones died, and if there is a killer out there somewhere. Now, the woman's 7-month-old baby girl is in family care now. We'll have the latest on that story as we continue to follow it. We're still following that big chase that ended down in Edinburgh and Johnson County just a few minutes ago. It started about a half hour ago in Indianapolis tonight.
Now, this is some videotape that we were shooting as it was happening. Of course, this was began on Interstate 65 near the Raymond Street exit. And as you can see right there, he's traveling in the opposite direction. Again, a very volatile situation for, I'm sure, the people who were in the cars as well as police officers who were trying to chase him. This is County Road 200 South. Right there as you see him, 800 South, I'm sorry, as police are trying to chase him. Again, about 6 or 7 police officers who were trying to bring him to a stop, and there he goes, careening across the median. Yeah. And again, this is not happening. This is videotape that we shot live as it was taking place about 20 minutes ago.
Now, there were several close calls as he did cross back and forth in the 2 directions of traffic. Not far from here, he did break through a police roadblock they had set up, and we're going to have that for you tonight at 6 o'clock when we bring this to you in its entirety. So,
let's go now live to Chris Schubach, who has some more details. Chris, what can you tell us?
Well, they were able to capture him about State Road 252, just west of US 31. You can see the police vehicles that are there. As many as, we counted 8 cars. State police, Indianapolis City Police, some county sheriff's deputies were all involved in getting this under control. You can see all the vehicles there now stopped. They do have him in custody. They do have him in handcuffs and in a car. So it'll just take some time to process this, I guess, and decide where exactly he's going to go to face charges or to be locked up. So a situation that right now seems to be under control. He did surrender it somewhat peacefully. It looked like he just finally gave up the chase. But as you guys have mentioned, thankfully, nobody was hurt because it was, at some points, a very dangerous situation.
And again, Chris, how did this all begin? We understand that it possibly was because of a stolen vehicle.
Right, Andrea, that's what we've heard as well. Now, there may be more to that, of course. Whether he had some warrants out or not, we'll still have to determine that and find out. But all we know at this point is it may have been from a stolen vehicle that started just south of the city. About the Raymond Street exit is when we first heard about it, and followed them mostly along Interstate 65 southbound until we got to this point here, which is near Edinburgh.
No, I'm sorry, Mark.
I was going to say, well, that was right when he turned off. He was on 31 South, and he made that turn off and through a cornfield. Then he went down to where you are now. And let's cue up the tape. I believe we have that ready to show when the officers, we don't have that ready yet, but that was, as he made that turn, you thought he was maybe going to get away again, but fortunately, officers right there to kind of surrounded him. 3 cars came together at that point, which caused him to come to a stop where you see right here.
Now, Chris, what was so interesting is that a roadblock had actually been set up. How was it that he was able to get past that roadblock and away from police again?
Well, you saw that he passed into the opposite lane there. He did that twice. When they set up the roadblock, which was just south of the Franklin exit, he just simply drove around it into the grass, completely around the police cars. And it wasn't too long after that that he crossed over the cornfield over to US 31 to the area where he is now. He crossed the cornfield, got to a county road, and that took him to US 31. Police weren't able to follow him on their cars. They had to get out on foot, so that gave him a little bit of an advantage until other cars, I'm sure with radio traffic, other cars were able to catch up with him there near US 31.
Okay, we do have that tape. Let's show the tape quickly of the capture. We don't have that tape now, so we will get that queued up for you for 6 o'clock, and we will show you the final apprehension when this 30-minute chase came to an end. So we will have that coming up.
at 6 o'clock. Well, day 6 in the Michael Dean Overstreet trial turned technical. Today, investigators retraced their steps the night that Kelly Eckert was abducted, murdered, and raped.
Franklin Police Chief John Borges testified about how officers discovered Eckert's car. Scratches appeared on the bumper, but the defense points out the police did not find Overstreet's fingerprints on the car. Also, police did not find his fingerprints on the other 1,000 items submitted into evidence, including Eckert's white tennis shoes, similar to these found inside of a toilet at Camp Atterbury. Now, the shoes and the socks found at the crime scene matched the ones Eckert had on the day that she disappeared.
I wear some of her socks now, and I wear the same style that she had on that night. Her tennis shoes, they were brand new, and to see them that dirty, she would have had a fit because she liked her shoes clean.
A police lab technician testified Eckert's overalls contained carpet fibers from Overstreet's van, yet he admits the fibers could have come from Eckert's car. Meanwhile, DNA experts are now expected to take the stand tomorrow.
Well, still much more to come tonight on Eyewitness News, including Bob Gregory's forecast. He's got a look at your rain chances for the rest of the week coming up.
We'll be right back.
Tonight at 6 on Channel 13 Eyewitness News. It looks like a typical Indiana church, but the problems this congregation may face could turn ugly.
Hope nothing happens, but I can't guarantee anything.
They say they don't want violence, but will militia groups hijack their cause?
That we can come down there fully armed and prepared to defend those people.
The last thing we would want to see is another Waco.
It's an Eyewitness News investigation, tonight at 6 on Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
Passion by Blue Bunny. Today we're talking with
Stephanie Wildman, Consumer Affairs.
Affairs, huh? I'm currently involved with exquisite mint, refreshing mint ice cream with
Dark chocolate mini cups and rich ribbons of butter fudge.
I know.
But did you know we put more goodies in every bite? Taste test it twice an hour. Overwrap it for freshness. If you're not buying Blue Bunny, you're just not buying the best.
Hallelujah, sister.
Sorry. I get carried away.
I adore a woman with passion, Steph.
There's a car out there that connects you to a personal advisor for customized information and support services. Is this a Lexus or a BMW that has the executive assistance of OnStar Standard? No, it's the newly restyled 2000 Catera. And now you can get a Catera with a very attractive lease. Call for important lease details. The new 2000 Catera, the power of and, the fusion of design and technology. Cadillac.
Remember that great taste of s'mores?
Meet me where the sun was just around the bend. Meet me at the Dairy Queen, where the feeling never ends. Meet me at DQ.
Dairy Queen's captured that taste with the new S'more Galore Parfait. That famous DQ soft serve, cocoa fudge, marshmallow topping, a graham cracker crunch. Just like around the campfire, and you don't need a stick. Only DQ's got the S'more Galore, so get over there today.
Meet me at DQ.
Let's go now live to Chris Schubach, who is in Chopper 13. Chris?
Well, you can see here from Chopper 13, the suspect that took police on a very long and sometimes dangerous chase is now in the custody of the Indianapolis Police Department. They do have him handcuffed, and he will head back to the city in an Indianapolis police cruiser, a marked one there. They are now directing traffic here on State Road 252. This is where the chase ended. It began, as from what we heard, just south of the city on Interstate 65. You can see there, that's where the actual capture took place. That black pickup truck is the vehicle that he drove. It may have been a stolen vehicle. We believe that's all we're hearing so far as to why the chase may have begun. One that went through several miles, mostly on Interstate 65 southbound. However, the driver did cut over to the northbound lane, so he was going against traffic and police followed. So some very tense situations throughout the course of this about 30-minute chase. He crossed through a farm field that police were not able to follow. follow on car, was able to make his way to US 31, where he finally made his way then to State Road 252. Other sheriff's deputies were able to catch up, and finally he did just give up. And you can see there, police are handcuffing him there, but he will be in the custody of the Indianapolis Police Department, and we will have more details coming up. Reporting live from Chopper 13, Chris Schubach, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Very fortunate that did end safely.
In other news, after months of intensive therapy, a local gymnast went back to school today. Perry Meridian students